Okay, now we're recording.
Nice.
Yes. So I guess we each just introduce ourselves, I guess.
Yeah, introduce yourself in like a brief, I guess, description of your religious or spiritual background.
Does anybody want to go first?
I
guess.
can go first.
Okay.
So I'm Garrison Powell. I grew up in a very Catholic household. My mom was Catholic, her whole family's Catholic. My dad was Presbyterian, but he didn't practice as much. We only kind of went to his church on holidays. But I grew up Catholic, did like the whole um, thing to getting confirmed, like the going up to it, and then I got to the last stage, and I basically said, I can't do this. I at the time I was very atheist in my belief. I didn't I didn't believe in God. I didn't think of him of even being there really. Um, and I remember like going into confirmation, I was like praying. Literally, I didn't even know what I was doing, but I was like praying to just like please like show me some sign that you're there, something that I can believe in, something that I can hold on to, some kind of faith. And I just never got that. And so I kind of kept with my atheistic beliefs, but now I'm a lot more agnostic. I don't, I don't have a disbelief in anyone's religion or anyone's portrayal of their religion. But for myself, I'm just gonna blatantly say I don't really know what's going on out there in the world. I don't know who created us. I don't know if there was a creator, anything like that. I just know I'm human. I'm here. I'm gonna do it the best I can do while I'm here. And that's like, I guess it's more become spirituality for me, just my own journey of trying to be the best person I can be in the society of humans as opposed to being grasped onto a singular belief or anything like that. So that's kind of been my journey throughout my life.
I can go next, I guess. It was nice hearing your side of it, Garrison. For me, I'm Carla Perdomo, as you can see on the thing. But for me, I was raised Catholic from both parents are both Catholic. So that's pretty much all the religion I've basically known since I was younger. But throughout growing up, I did have friends from other religions, and they would invite me to their church and attend all that. And I tend to not judge other people's religions because I feel like if they believe in God, so do I. So I would just be in there for God as well. But as I grew older, I also started knowing more about Catholicism and certain things that I kind of don't agree so much with the religion or things like that. But I still have, I could say, more spiritual belief in God than so much on the religion. But I still kind of consider myself Catholic just since that's all I've really known since I was younger. But I feel like my spirituality is more, I do believe there is a God. I just don't necessarily put myself in like that one religion is the correct one. I kind of feel like they all have a different aspect of it and it's okay. But I do have belief that there is a God. Um, so that's just about my my side on that.
So I had a quick question regarding your story. So I know you said you grew up Catholic and you kind of have shifted your beliefs since then. Um, if you were to like have to answer that question on your religion and have to, I guess put a label to it, is there a label that you feel most comfortable with, or do you kind of like being in between it and kind of, still figuring it out kind of thing?
Um, like label religious wise, like what do I
Yeah, like Catholicism, Presbyterian, like
I've always feel like I always say Catholic, just but I feel like overall I would, because a lot of people just say I'm Christian, right? But they don't really specify what exactly they are. within that realm of Christianity, because it's a lot in
Yeah.
Christianity. I would say Catholic. Just
Okay.
yeah. But thank you for asking.
Awesome. Thank you for answering my question.
Hi, so I would start out from whenever I was younger. I kind of grew up in the Church of Latter-day Saints, which is Mormon, probably till I was about 6, and I would go with my parents and was a part of the church and everything. But once my grandpa died, my dad's dad, we kind of just stopped going. Like we never went again. I never really, still to this day, I don't really have an answer to that. I think it's because my dad's dad did pass away and it was just really hard on him, and he was the main one that would like have us go. And so ever since then, like religion was never really in the household, like ever. And I grew up in Abilene, Texas, which I don't know if you know about Abilene, but we have like the most churches per square mile or something like that. And so not growing up like super religious was not really accepted. Like you would go to school and people would talk about things, and I would just feel so embarrassed because I didn't know about anything. And at one point I didn't know I was young and I didn't know what like a pew was, like a church pew. And I asked somebody and they were like, it's in church. It's what you sit in church. I'm like, okay, sorry. So that was my kind of thing with religion. And so I would say to this day, I don't really have a label. Um, I think I do think there's a God. I've never really felt that at all. Like I've never really had like a religious experience. But like every now and then, like if something's going bad, I'll kind of be like, well, it's not gonna hurt to pray, like to have someone try to help me out, I guess. And it's interesting because my boyfriend, we've been together for a long time and he's Christian, and he's had like whole type of experiences, and is like a big believer, not really in the religion going to church type of part, but just in the believing and faithfulness. And so I would say he's kind of had an impact on me with that kind of stuff. And I've always wanted to like be a part of religion. Like it's really hard being in the middle of everything, like as I'm sure you can understand, Garrison. It's definitely difficult and it's definitely a journey. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah. So do you feel, Madison, that you're growing more faith in God now, kind of? Or
I would say I'm definitely exploring it a lot more, because I've never really been around it that much. And so my boyfriend is kind of like, I guess, more of an example because I never had it in the household, and like most of my family doesn't really talk about it. I mean, there's some parts of my family that are still Mormon to this day, and they're very big believers. And I don't follow that religion at all. I know that for a fact, but yeah, it's just complicated.
So I did actually have a question. You said you grew up Mormon initially, right? Like you like going to Mormon church and everything?
Mhm. Yeah.
When, like at what age did that kind of stop happening for you?
So with my parents going, it was probably at about 6 years old. I still remember a lot, but I remember whenever I was, I think, like in 6th grade, I was kind of like, I think I want to start going back to church. I remember I went to church camp, out the Mormon church camp at one point, and it was honestly, they're very sweet people. Like they're super, super nice. And it was my birthday, and they did like a whole party for me and everything. And it was really awesome. But it was just hard with it not being in the household because my parents wouldn't take me, and I was still not in the loop of everything like everybody else was. So I would say it stopped at 6, but like me exploring the Mormon church stopped probably to like 12.
Did your parents' faith continue even though they stopped going to the church? Like, did they still kind of hold Mormon beliefs and values to them, or did they kind of distance themselves away from the church when they did that as well?
Um, I would say they probably distanced. I don't really know exactly with my dad. Like, I don't know if he believes or anything like that, but I know that the Mormon church is very strict. And so, like, you can't have tattoos, which my dad has tattoos like all over his face and stuff. You can't drink caffeine, you can't drink soda, tea, nothing. And so, they definitely don't practice any of that. I don't think my mom believes anymore because she remarried, and I think her husband is an atheist. So I think that's really influenced her a lot. So I don't think they have any faith at all anymore.
Gotcha.
This is a pretty interesting topic because we all have different background, which is nice. So we can have a different
Right.
output on how we're gonna kind of assess. I'm sorry if you hear scratching. My dog is trying to get in my room. Because I was just listening to everybody's story, and it's kind of nice to hear different like view on things. So like I feel like as we start to think of like questions, we can kind of use what we just talked about in a way to
Mhm.
to start our assessment questions.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's kind of hard because there's a lot of things we could ask,
Yeah.
but involving kind of like I feel like the thing is we have to involve religion or spirituality into the questions. Like if I'm not,
So you have to have 3 questions, right?
yeah, 3 assessment questions that we can come at as a group. Um, so we can have a like the interview, I think.
Did you want to kind of set it up so where like we each write down maybe like 1 or 2 questions, and then we can kind of converse with what those questions are, and we can kind of pick the 3 that we like from those. We'll have a good bunch of questions that we can choose from, and we just kind of talk about which ones engage, what areas of conversation.
Yeah, we can do that. We could kind of have our own questions and then just discuss it and pick 3 of those, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. I'm kind of going on the chapter.
I was about to say I'm on the ebook right now.
You have your questions already, Garrison?
Yes.
You do?
All right, y'all. Do y'all have your questions down and everything?
Well, kinda. It's just kind of hard to just focus it on religion without kind of getting a background on the client.
Yeah.
So I don't. So I don't know if we should have like some kind of like entry kind of questions on that, and then I don't know.
Well, so I mean, do you want me to start with sharing mine? Because I went kind of that path that you're going. I have a more general question, and then I have a more specified question that I guess would be kind of like, depends on how you answer it. My first one was just kind of like, how does your faith impact your values or beliefs? Like, what in your core beliefs is impacted through religion or spirituality and stuff like that. And then my second question is, how important is it that your friends or your relationship partners share that same belief with you? Like, is that something that you value? Is it something that is very important to you that's like a necessity, or are you not, don't really care about it? You're very open, but that kind of just like, judges on you know, how impactful someone's beliefs are, I guess, is just who they decide to associate with.
What I kind of made was well, the basic question I first started was like reason for seeking help, kind of. And let me see. Also asking the client if they have any type of religion or spirituality that they believe in or they follow, as well as having that religion or their belief. How does that like involve the way that they kind of behave? Do they interact their daily life within that belief? Another one I had was like, that one was just, what are your concerns or goals for taking therapy? But that one didn't have like religion involved. I just had the other one more with religion or spirituality than any. So those are my questions that I kind of thought of.
When looking in the textbook, there were some like suggestion type questions.
Mhm.
So I pulled like certain things from those. Like one of my questions was, what nourishes slash influences your spirituality? Like if there's anything in particular that someone has influence over, like your parents or something in your community or something like that, that can really tell like what they're around.
Mhm.
And then what brings a sense of meaning and purpose to your life? I think that's a good avenue to like see how religion influences, or like how a lot of people, it's more spirituality or moral values or anything like that. The third one was kind of brings in history a little bit, was what is an incident in your life that precipitated a change in your belief about the meaning of life? So like,
I really like that question.
Yeah.
Good.
because like what change like influenced, like for me it'd be like, well, we stopped going to church, and so that like influences a lot of people, and I could kind of see like where they're at in their spirituality a little
It
bit.
also gives you a good like time zone of like their development of when they were kind of going through that stages of, realization, or just like, kind of exploring what their options were, kind of thing.
Yeah. So do we like that one?
Yeah, no, that should definitely be one for sure. But did you want to just like take one question from each of us, like just the strongest question? We'll go over them, make sure they're not too similar or something.
Yeah, I think we all had really diverse type of questions.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with the friends, relationships, partners one, because that's a little bit more specified. So, and also because Carla can give one of your more like intro questions a lot more light,
Okay.
What was the question exactly? Like, how did you phrase it?
Mine or Carla's?
Yours. Like
Oh,
the
mine was how important is it that your friends or relationship partners share the same view as you?
Mhm.
already. Yeah, I think that's definitely with a nice intro question will definitely be very good.
For sure. And I think your question, Madison, would be really good to kind of like, I don't know, more like it's be more being like the middle. Like we can have my question kind of last as like the very more specified one, but yours is very like developmental. So I really like that.
Yeah. I I start with the one, what are the client's goals or concerns? That one or
You had one that was pretty like spiritual based. I
oh,
want
what is the client's religion or spiritual beliefs
maybe like how would you define
and
your
how they view their religion?
yeah.
I kind of like a combination of your first and second one though, that kind of like it's where it's like an introduction of, sorry, say your first question again, like verbatim.
Mine,
Yeah.
what are the client's goals or concerns?
So you could kind of take that question and morph it into something that has to do more with spirituality and like their religion. It's like kind of how did you acquire these goals? Like what led you to discovering religion to begin with? That kind of like discovery introduction period.
Because I kind of wanted, I had made a side note on that, but I didn't read it when I first read it. I said, my side note on that one was, um, do these goals fall within their faith or religion? That's what I
Mm.
was had as a note onto it. Let me see, but I can kind of like rephrase it a bit more so I could have like excuse me. Let's see. What are their if their goals are, let me see. I'm trying to think about the first one and second one kind of to putting them
So
together.
were you thinking more like kind of blending them? Because I wrote down like how do you view your religion slash spirituality in terms of life goals? Like is that kind of what you're
Yeah, but mine was kind of more like thinking of like why they're seeking type of
oh
counsel.
yeah.
But that one does kind is kind of similar as well. I kind of think.
So when you say like why they're like seeking guidance, are you talking about like why they chose their religious path to begin with, or are you talking about like why they are in a social work setting talking about their religion?
No, I mean why then the social work setting.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, but I feel like as a social worker, we should know their background as well. So that's what I was asking, like what are their religion type of thing. That's why I was kind of having the other question.
Well,
Uh,
so I like that you can kind of like say like what is your religion? What do you identify as religiously or spiritually? And then kind of add like a second part to that same question and kind of see like how does that align with your, life views or societal views kind of thing.
okay, that sounds better.
Yeah, I feel like from what I'm seeing about the assignment is like we went over all of our like kind of background type things. So now we're getting into like the nitty gritty questions. So I think that's a really good like talking about goals and stuff like that because we didn't really talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your religion, spiritual beliefs, and how does that align? Okay, so I have it. I kind of made it already the question. So then we can have Madison's question second, and then yours last, Garrison.
Yeah. Madison, can you actually repeat your question again?
Yes. Here, I'm gonna put it in order.
I'm gonna write it mine in the chat, and then
Okay, awesome. I'll
and
do
then
the same.
yeah. Let's see.
Awesome. So when it comes to the actual interview itself, what um like are I'm assuming these aren't the only questions we're going to ask, right? Or are we just kind of asking these three questions we've come up with and writing down the answers and then trying to uh I guess going over whether they worked well or not, I guess. From I guess that's kind of what I got from it.
Yeah, I think we only asked those questions. Says the group generates 3 assessment questions that will provide basic information and also open up the topic for further discussion.
So I feel like
Maybe not.
maybe from there the conversation can go a little bit more. I don't know because it does set to open up for discussion. So I don't know.
Yeah. And it's
I'm thinking maybe like, you start on the questions that you have, like, we start with the first question that Carla had, say it, the other person has their answer to it, and you can, I guess, build off questions from there, but then you still kind of go back to the three questions that you had. It's just like kind of like paragraphs, we have paragraph one question, paragraph two question, but within those there can be kind of like sub questions or just like little sub points.
Yeah, I think so, because it says the group discusses whether the questions they generated initially were used in its assessment. So yeah, I think we definitely did use these 3 questions, but I think anything else in between that can just go with the flow.
So how did we want to do this? Because I'm assuming it's an interviewer and the person being interviewed and then the person recording all the questions and answers, right?
Yeah. I don't care. I don't really want to be the interviewer.
I'm kind of impartial. I don't really care.
I mean,
I'm okay being the interviewee if that needs to happen. I'm okay with that.
okay. I can take the notes.
Okay, I can be the interviewer.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you're gonna have to give me a second. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get everything together.
Oh yeah.
It's a little stressful. Okay,
You asked really good questions though, so I think you're the best one for the job.
well, thank you. I'm gonna try to uh maybe write down some of the questions that I asked in between the questions as well, just so we have a list of the questions we've asked, but I'll make sure that the three that are there are kind of, already set in place. I'm just trying to create like a way that I can set that up if need be. Okay, awesome. Hi, Madison.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good.
How's your day going? You've been good?
Yeah. I just did a work interview, so stressful.
Nice. How'd that go?
It went good. They really, really liked me. And
Nice.
I'm impartial about it because kind of wanted a different job.
Mm,
But I might just go with it.
I
Since
mean,
there's
hey, if it works, right?
yeah.
Awesome. So, what would you say your religious and spiritual beliefs are, and how would those kind of align with your current goals?
Sorry, there's some buzzing noise that's going on in my apartment for some reason. So I would say that I'm on the path to finding out if I'm spiritual. You know, a lot of things happened in the past where I started to become spiritual and then kind of fell out of it. Like either we stopped going to church with my family or I didn't really align with the religion I was initially in. Um, I would say that I'm definitely not like atheist. I don't think there's nothing, but I don't necessarily know what there is. I'm very open, and so I just with my goals in life is to just be very kind and nice to people and just do the right thing. Morals plays a big part in I would say religion in general, but in how I am with my like track to spirituality. I think they kind of go hand in hand, and I've been definitely trying to see how that intertwines with myself.
So, do you think your life goals may have some kind of impact on your spiritual journey, on whether you are, the fact that you're still a little bit confused on what you want to do with it? Does your life goals kind of pertain to that, confusion, just because it's not like you feel comfortable identifying with one thing or another? You're still kind of, exploring your life goals, therefore you're still exploring your spiritual goals kind of thing?
Um, yeah, I would probably say that. Um, I think everybody's still trying to figure out themselves, and that's definitely still me. But yeah, I think a big part of that would have to be, I guess, just knowing like what religion or spirituality like can do for me in my life. Because I see it with so many other people, and I think it's worth it. It's worth exploring, I would say. And I definitely think it could benefit me in my life. That's why I'm really trying to kind of figure it out while I can, essentially.
So, what do you see yourself gaining from your spiritual journey to your life goals? So, like, what are you gonna get through your spiritual journey that's going to help you with your current life goals or current beliefs and values?
Um, I would say it would help me a lot with probably stress. Like at times I feel really alone, and like I get stressed out about situations, and I'm a very big like I need to know type of person, so like not knowing things is kind of hard sometimes. And I know that a lot of people like they won't worry about things because they have their god, or they have faith in that a bigger plan. And um I definitely think that would help me with my stress, and just being more optimistic, I would
So,
say.
so it'd be kind of more like a communal support system for you, kind of for your life going on.
Yeah, I would say that I don't have a very big community of people in general, and I know that that's a very strong community, and I think that's something I have been trying to look towards.
Nice. So, has there been a point in your life, or an incident that kind of like encouraged you to change your belief, or to start thinking more about your beliefs at a given time?
um yeah, I would say those kind of came about in a little bit of a negative way. So people being kind of rude about me not knowing um what I identify as, or not knowing about their religion in general. And yeah, and then I would say that as I've grown up, there's kind of been times in my life where I kind of wonder like what after this, like what, like I have kind of a fear of death, like I really do. And so I would say once I kind of realized that I have that fear, I've kind of been hoping to find something in spirituality that can kind of ease my mind a lot. I wouldn't say there's exactly one specific incident like I almost died or something like that, but I would say over time, with multiple like little incidents as I've grown up, have definitely impacted to where I am now.
Awesome. And then so you were talking about your community, and you don't really have that big of a community in that era. Is it important to you that your friends or family or relationship partners kind of share those same views as you, or kind of have that a similar mindset on what your core beliefs are?
Um, I would say I'm pretty open. I mean, like I have a lot of family that's very faith based, and then I have people in my family that are atheists. Um, but either way, like I still love them. But it is kind of difficult when they don't really agree with you, or they kind of have so many type of views that you just don't understand. And so I think it is nice to have someone around me that is kind of also on their journey. Like, even if they do have a specific faith or spirituality, um, it doesn't impact my relationship with them, because I've seen that a lot where it will really impact your relationship with somebody. So I think it's kind of important a little bit.
So do you have that a person in your life currently or a group of people in your life that do kind of share those same views as you, where it's not necessarily like they're set on a specific belief, but they do kind of they are exploring it and very much want to, be more in tune with their spiritual slash religious side?
Yeah, I don't have friends, I would say. I don't think I have friends. So I have family members that are very, very Mormon, very, very Christian, very much nothing. But I would say someone that's really impacted would be my partner, just because he does have a very big like faith in God and stuff, like, and he grew up like that, but he's not really like on the whole like huge religion aspect like I am. He kind of more focuses on like the faith and the spirituality aspect, rather than I need to go to church, I need to do this, I need to do that. So I think it's definitely helped me see that I don't need to have religion. Like, I don't have to be a part of um, a religious community in order to have those feelings, or I don't need to have like a huge realization in my life in order to pursue spirituality. And I think that that's definitely impacted how I viewed it today.
Awesome. Do you think if you had like a friend group or maybe a uh religious group that you felt comfortable with exploring your religious and spiritual side that kind of had more in tune views with you, do you think that would either aid or kind of hurt your own spiritual journey, or like how would that look?
Um, I would say that would probably help a lot, because I've tried in the past to kind of get in groups that are very set in their religion and very set in their ways. And it was definitely really hard because I didn't fully align with that. And I was trying to put myself in that just to make myself happy and just to feel a part of a community. But and so I've always kind of had a little bit of a fear of trying to do that, because I don't want to get rejected or like feel like, oh well, I'm not as religious or spiritual as them, so I'm not as good as they are. So yeah, that would definitely help a lot to be able to find a community that has kind of similar beliefs as me.
Yeah. Um, so I guess going back on the the um the friends thing, you said you don't really have friends at the moment that you, I guess, associate with. Is that kind of, do you think that aids in wanting friends with a spiritual, but like uh a similar spiritual path as yourself? Do you think that kind of aids in that longing for, connection, or just kind of like an understanding, or just kind of feeling heard? Does that kind of play a part in it?
Um, yeah, I would say so. Growing up, friend groups, a lot of them were based on religion. Like, they would go to Bible study together, they would go do all this type of stuff. And so I did feel pretty left out. Um, and it took a long time for me to realize like that's not my fault. But I still struggle with that sometimes. But yeah, having friends would probably definitely have an impact on that.
Or just like, not just like friends in general, but like, you know, you kind of explained how growing up, a lot of the friend groups were based on religious, differences, or a lot of religious similarities. And do you think if you had a group of people like that, back then in your childhood, and even now, if you had a group of people that kind of shared your religious beliefs with you, do you think it would, kind of give you more of uh, a draw to religion itself, or is it more about the friends that you can make through that bonding?
Okay, yeah, I understand what you mean now. Um, yeah, growing up, I definitely wish I was a part of that. Like I always felt pretty left out, both not just friends, but in spirituality. Like, I never got the opportunity to really try to explore any of that kind of stuff. And so I think it stunted my religious journey a lot. Um, and I think it would be a great way, like now, to be able to make friends, but also to connect like spiritually and start having those conversations. I think that would help me like along my spiritual journey, because right now I'm kind of stuck because I don't talk about it. I don't know anything about it. And so, yeah, I think that would definitely have an impact.
So where do you think you would be, or what do you think might be different if you did kind of have more of that communal religious friend group that you could kind of confide into when you were younger?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Um, like I said, I probably wouldn't be as stressed. Um, I think I would be more okay with things that go on in life. And like, okay, like there's a plan, there's somebody like watching over me in a sense, like just the calmness I see that people feel about that. Like
Do you
I just
think
get,
you Sorry,
sorry.
do you think you'd feel a little bit more grounded? Like, is that kind of what it is?
Oh yeah, I think I just feel so anxious and I just don't know, and it's just hard. But like seeing people like talk about spirituality, and they do feel very grounded, and I think I'm definitely searching to try to have that.
So do you think a lot of your like the anxiety that you feel now, do you think a lot of it kind of stems from that seeking a religious or spiritual goal in a way? Like you just kind of feel like you you're anxious about what's going to happen in the future, or you're anxious about the different aspects of your life, and kind of having that religious you know guidance there would kind of help with that anxiety.
Yeah, I definitely think it would help a lot.
Is that where like the majority of your anxiety stems from?
um I would say it's a big part of it because um like feeling alone about things, is definitely hard at times. um and so being able to like know that someone's there with me, or that I'll be fine, or that I have connections to people and stuff, like I think it would definitely help today.
And so I feel kind of in your answer, when you're talking about religion, you talk a lot about community and just kind of like that overall acceptance. Is a big part of that desire to be in a religious and spiritual background, is it being a part of something bigger? Is that like a draw for you? Is that something that you kind of enjoy the aspect of, or the thought of?
Yeah, because since I don't have like a community of people, like a lot of people have, like if they play a sport, like that's their community. I don't do any of that type of stuff. And so um it's I like not having a community at all is kind of hard. And um I'm drawn to having a religious community, especially because I think it would help me in my anxiety and my stress and stuff. Because I know that that's a big part of it, is like trying to help you through things in life, and I think I would gain a lot of benefits from being a part of that.
Yeah. And so you say you're not usually like, you're not a part of like many groups like outside of that. So is, uh kind of branching out and going on your spiritual journey, is that kind of your I guess your self-care of trying to kind of help with your anxiety about things that are happening as well? Is that kind of like, your goal in life? It's like, hey, like, I'm feeling really anxious. I'm really feeling like, kind of bummed this week. Is that something that gives you that strength, that urge to like kind of want to, help that?
Yeah, I definitely say so because um lately I've kind of like been, I guess, praying in a sense. Like if something is making me anxious and like, okay, well, like help me make it okay. Like, you know, like, and there was a thing that happened like a couple weekends ago where um my partner basically got knocked out and was like, it was over a sport and he was like on the ground, like passed out for like a few minutes. And I was just like, all I can remember is like just trying to ask, like, please make him be okay. Like, please, like, let me know that he'll be okay. And so, yeah, like stressful events, I would say like big events. And like for the future, like if something's going to happen, like if something happens, like an interview or like if something's wrong with a family member, like, you know, I just want to know that it's okay. And so I definitely seek that in times of like distress, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess this will kind of be like my final like ending resolution question. Um, so how would you define the difference between like your spiritual religious path for a community, for a group of people that you can kind of assimilate with, and what is the part of your religion that is very much your own? What do you hold dear to your individual self with your religion, as opposed to what do you see with religion that is more community based?
Are you talking about like my personal relationship with community and then people in the community?
Well, I'm more so, how would you define your own view of your spiritual beliefs? And then how would you define the um the spiritual community and wanting to be a part of that, and how those two things would, how they're different, I guess, is the main thing.
Okay. Um, I'll start with the community one. A lot of people I see like a lot of people will say like it's God's plan, like he made it happen or like things happen for a reason and stuff like that. And I'm trying to get more like that, like just having faith that this was meant to happen. And there's like some things you don't have control over, like being a control freak and stuff is like a part of me. And so I see a lot of people in the community that just have faith and that they feel a lot better knowing that that is a part of their religion. Um,
So it kind of gives you that kind of like communal guidance of other people kind of on their own journey doing their own thing. It's kind of like a boost of for yourself, like, oh, like, I can get to that point kind of thing.
yeah, I would say that I see that a lot. And then like with me, I would say certain things in religion I'm not really like, I guess, crazy about. Like, I mean, more people around me are Christian. Like, I grew up a little bit Mormon, but like that's a big part of Christianity, is the Mormon Church. Um, so I guess like Christian like views and stuff like sometimes align with me. Like, obviously, like don't murder people, be kind to your neighbor, like stuff like that. But um, I guess more strict based type of things I don't really align with, I guess. Um,
So like more religions that are not as strict and more laissez-faire with just the way that they practice, the way that they preach, that's usually what you're more drawn to.
oh yeah, like I know that there's isn't there like non-denominational
Mhm.
type things, and yeah, I'm just kind of more focusing on the spiritual aspect rather than we need to follow this type of religion. Like you need to be like this, you need to be like that. I think just the spirituality of the non-denominational just sounds really intriguing because it's just the aspect of like, well, we all want to have a spiritual connection. So like, yeah. I think aspect is more just me getting myself out there and actually trying to kind of help myself find a community, because I need to realize it's not just going to come to me. I have to actually go out there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That was awesome. You did amazing with answering the question.
God, that was difficult.
I know, I'm sorry. I realized after a bit that I was just kind of grilling you. Like I was just kind of like going one after the other. And I was like, okay, I need to calm down.
Yeah, no, you did really good questions. You literally made me actually think about myself. Because
Thank
I
you.
was, wow, like, I never really thought about that. But
Input, like the way that you were going with it. So both of you guys did good.
Thank
yeah, I
you.
feel like sometimes I was like, oh, I hope I answered that right. Because I would start talking and then I kind of like forgot the first part of the question.
No, I was running into the same
Shoot.
problem. I was like, while I was listening to your answer, I was like, crap, what did I ask again? Like, what is she
Yeah,
answering? Like,
yeah. It's like, wait, what did he say? I
so then I
forgot.
had to like think about the further questions I asked. I'm like, okay, try not to reiterate what I've already said, but like kind of try to get the answers I need. I don't know. It was a lot, but
That was
it was
very
good. It was really good.
That was very interesting, though. Like seeing, like, it is hard to do that, and we definitely need practice. Like, but also seeing like what it takes for a client to answer, kind of like that was hard because like I had to
Yeah.
actually really think.
Yeah. But I feel like Garrison knew how to make you in a way kind of feel comfortable and talking about it because in some situations I feel like the way that the person that's the therapist or the counselor makes the client feel makes them be more open. And he wasn't like the way he was asking things was not kind of judgy. He was just kind of trying to get to know you and like be
Oh
more.
yeah,
So I think he did a good job on doing that and also just making you kind of feel comfortable on talking. Because I know certain questions are kind of can be a little bit uncomfortable, but you still answer them and yeah, I did good on that.
yeah. I can't believe I told people that like I have no friends and that I am anxious.
But sometimes people think they have friends, but they're not really their friends, you know? So it's okay.
Yeah.
See, but I was about to say, I actually going into this assignment, I was a little skeptical because I was just kind of like, I don't really know how this is gonna work. But after that, I loved that whole thing. Just kind of you because I could see you, you know, getting a little bit more comfortable with it as things went on. You were kind of answering things a little bit more drawn out and you know, kind of like thinking about the questions a little bit harder, like, okay, like what is my answer to that truly? And like it was so fun to see and so amazing.
I know. That is fun.
Yeah,
Gosh,
it's
it's fun though.
hard to keep up with the writing, but I kind of got the gist of it.
I was about to say, what kind of notes did you get from that?
A lot, you know, but it's kind of, you know, their notes are kind of like, but I really did get a lot of like how you're more looking for like a sense of community and belonging in spirituality, not some more of religion, you know.
Mm.
And I feel like um Garrison hit a good point when interviewing you. Like it all goes back to how when you actually stopped having like religion in your life and as well like it was so important in your community as well, like having a religion and you not having that kind of made you feel a bit more different than anybody, and now that's something that you're seeking because you feel like having that makes a sense of belonging. And I
Mhm.
have a very during the interview I feel like having a big belonging is very important to you, and your belonging you think it's like it's very important to have like spirituality more than religion. And
Mhm.
I took a that was a very important topic that kind of went throughout a lot. So as well as how you said that that's how you want to have your own like friends or group people that kind of have that same um belief in it, not so much on religion but just about having more spirituality. And I also pointed out that your boyfriend, your partner is actually like a big input on your spirituality, and it's how has helped you kind of build more on that. So
Mhm.
I wrote more, but that's just kind of like the gist of my of my notes.
Yeah. Did you get like notes on sorry. Like what the three questions that we came up with, like how they kind of impacted the flow of conversation as opposed to other questions?
I kind of answered the whatever she responded to those questions. But as well, I feel like those answers were very important as well because they brought more conversation to the. I feel like if you didn't have those three questions kind of to base off, you would kind of be going back and forth in certain things. So I feel like having the questions that help your conversation with her kind of flow better
And
and
then
I agree.
other questions.
did you see anything like while listening to the conversation, is there a topic that we could have touched on more if we had a different question? Like, is there like questions that would be, a good additive to the ones that we already did kind of thing, like that would add more value that we didn't kind of, touch base on through the questions we asked?
Um, Throughout, I feel like, let me see, that's a good question. I feel like her, and during the interview, you barely like talked more about her, kind of like her background, like what happened. I feel like we kind of knew what happened with her based on what we said in the beginning,
Earlier.
not in the interview. So I feel like maybe adding that into the interview would have been a bit more better, just to have for whoever doesn't know what we talked about would kind of understand.
Establish more of a background.
That's the only, I feel like we could have incorporated that.
Yeah,
Maybe-
honestly, I think if we had done that, we probably would have gotten on the topic that we ended up getting onto a lot sooner,
Yeah.
like that whole difference between, spirituality in a communal form versus your own individual religion or your own individual experience with it. And I definitely would have kind of showed that because, through your childhood a lot, you did talk about that very
Mhm.
stark difference between, religious groups and friend groups and stuff growing up.
Yeah.
I feel like since you already knew that, you kind of went to questions like that, but someone that didn't know anything would have been like kind of
Yeah.
No, I hear you.
And it was a very big impact of like the day. And so I think that probably would have been more influential in like trying to me figure out where I'm at today.
yes.
Like reflecting on it and stuff.
That would be my thing of like we could have done that. I don't know if you guys think that there could have been something else maybe that we could
I was
have.
about to say, Madison, was there something that like I didn't ask or didn't touch base on that you could have felt added more to the conversation or anything?
I would probably say we could have done something about like what makes you anxious and stressed, and like how do you think adding in religion would like specifically help you with that? Because like then you could talk about like, okay, well, school stresses me out a lot, or like I have family problems that happen all the time, and um like religion, I don't know, does that make any sense?
No, I hear what you're saying. I like
Like,
you're kind of in the realm where it's like if I had asked more about your anxiety on a generalized basis, you could
mhm.
have, seen the different parts of things that make you anxious, as opposed to what I did ask was I asked more about what, or I think I asked something like, is religion, a big part of your anxiety, or like does it have a lot of
That
impact
was
into
a
your
very good
anxiety?
question. But I think like asking kind of background, like, okay, well, what are your anxieties? Like, and then kind of getting to the point of like, okay, well, is one of your anxieties regarding religion? And then it's like, well, yeah, it is. Um, yeah, I would say stuff like that.
So
Overall,
yes, kind of
amazing.
touching base on the generalized anxiety as opposed to, specific things.
Yeah, because I feel like if you would have touched that, then you could actually advise her something to help her when she's feeling anxious, something that she could have done, or when she feels anxious, to try something out maybe, or things or maybe like non-religious things like meditation or something that could help her, or something that will help her when she feels anxious to relieve that anxiety.
Yeah, that actually also would have been a really good question to ask what kind of things she does, right now to help her anxiety and stuff. Because again, I think I said, is your spiritual journey helping your anxiety? But, it was more of a specified version of that same question.
Mhm. Yeah, that would have, yeah, that is wow, that is a really good question. Overall, I think it was really great though.
Yeah, but
Like,
this
it
helps
was,
us know kind of how to now use this as an example and practice, like Madison saying, for future references, because we are learning.
For
So
sure.
it's nice to have other eyes and opinions to also help you too, which you don't see sometimes or notice on things.
Yeah.
um, what did you say again about you like asking questions? I know we were talking about how we kind of would lose, like I would lose myself in the talking and be like, oh, well, like, what was the question again? And then you would also forget when I was talking. How would we put that in there? Because I feel like that's a part that I think we should put of
That
the assessment, like something that what does it say?
That we can improve.
A recommendation, yeah, like a recommendation. Because I think that was a big part of us like talking, not just the content, but also thinking about the process.
I mean, I think just a part of it on my part could be more shortened questions, because usually when I asked you a question, it was like, a multi-part question, or it was a very detailed or specific question. It wasn't as generalized as y'all were kind of saying. So I feel like having maybe shortened, more generalized questions would aid to that, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, also like restating the beginning again at the end, like because it was important for you to give examples, because you'd ask a question and it's like, well, like regarding this and this, and it's like, okay, I know what he's talking about, and then maybe re-saying the question at the end would help both of us, because then you're like, okay, I remember what I said, I remember
Yeah,
what I just asked, and then I remember what you asked whenever I
it'll
said
kind of both get us refocused on the topic again before we go into it. Yeah,
it, just after examples.
no, I like that. Sorry, I gotta look at the.
No, you're fine.
So when it comes to like the document that we're supposed to upload, what is supposed to be on that document?
So I don't, well, for instance, this video, I would have to save it, download it, and put it on YouTube. I'll try to do that. Like, I'm gonna do that right after we are done, and I don't know how long it's gonna take to post on YouTube. But just in case, I'm gonna still put, like a media file in there, just in case it doesn't upload soon enough, so we can still have that there. But I think what we, as an individuals, I think we're supposed to just write what we just talked about right now, like what do we thought could be improved, just to write it down.
Okay.
I
So
think
like we have like our questions and everything, and then just kind of the flow of overall conversation and how we think we can improve on it and stuff.
I think just overall notes on what we had. I think that's what she meant on the writing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because all it says is written responses, but it says explaining their recommendation for assessment. So I'm guessing what we just talked about, like writing it down and what we could have done better, and like recommendations. I think we should put like our 3 questions, and then because like she's gonna watch the like assessment,
Mhm.
I guess. I don't, because that's really all that
Yeah, she's gonna watch it and hear what we're.
were written. Yeah. Like we wrote down the questions and then we also like wrote down our recommendations. Like I'm guessing that's what she means.
She probably just wants to see it in written form, like the you know, what she's gonna see through the video. You know what I mean? Like she wants to see this conversation that we have on paper so that she can, that we did it at least, I think.
And it's also kind of like we're gonna have to do that, like in our career and stuff. We're gonna have to talk and then go write something down.
Yeah.
Is the point of that.
Yes.
So you have to upload it to YouTube.
That's what it says on the thing. Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing that. I remember one time I had a class where I had to like upload a presentation on something, and I tried for like 2 hours and I was like, Miss McGee, I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. I was like, I don't know how
have enough like memory on my computer because it's recording towards my computer memory. So I'm just crossing and praying because like
I was about to say this has been a long conversation.
yeah, so I'm gonna stop recording it now because we're kind of done
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Let me stop recording it.